All right, I want to spend a couple minutes and talk with you about the hub or grand central station of this whole menu chart system that we have here. And that, of course, is the menu dynamics. So all of the other charts spring from this. This is where you start with your client. Now, this top left corner is the legend, and really all of total body modification is contained within this little box. Of course, it gets decompressed as you move on to these charts, and then sometimes you might carry over into some of the manuals. But I want to walk through this little box with you. The first, it says initialization. Under initialization, it says neurosensory calibration. We always start with a client by simply saying, give me a yes, give me a no, with an intact muscle. So that's neurosensory calibration. Next, we have high thymus. So if you test high thymus and it's positive, there's a little arrow that says go to termination. If you drop down to termination, drain, poison, toxicity, category 4. Once someone's come out of category 4, then you can pop up and recheck high thymus again, and if it's negative, then you can proceed. If it's still not negative, then as you know, you're done for that appointment. So once you've calibrated, once you've checked high thymus and found that it's negative, then you move down to the vital scan. So the vital scan, we've listed out here. Now, of course, the vital scan is a very fluid thing. This is a general guide, but you can always customize a vital scan to whatever degree to suit your specific clientele. And I would not discourage you in any way from just, you can write on this, you can put tape on here, customize it, really anything here. I've already started making notes. There's a new system that we came up with the other day. And so I just scribble it on there, then I have it. I'll be presenting that at a live if you want to come and learn that. At any rate, coming back here, the vital scan, this is the flow that I go through and the team of instructors use at the beginning of each visit to make sure we're not missing anything essential that would come back and bite us because we overlooked it. And also just to make sure the body is booted and the basics all cylinders are firing in essence. So it just takes a couple minutes once you get this procedure down to go through it, literally maybe 90 seconds if that. So vital scan, once you've completed the vital scan, then the next thing is to characterize a symptom or a sign. Now it could be a sign, for instance, someone comes in and says, I have, my cholesterol's at 380. Can you work on that with me? Well, sure. You can run an objective sign like any lab test through the menuing process, just like you can a symptom. Or they might say, every day at about like 4 or 5 o'clock, my heart starts racing for about 10 minutes and then it stops. You can menu that symptom. So you characterize the symptom, you characterize the sign in as specific language as you can, and then you ask, are we finished? Are we finished with the heart racing for 10 minutes every day at about 4 p.m.? No, we're not finished. Or no, we're not finished with cholesterol being at 350 or 380, whatever. Then we ask, do we need to backward think? So we teach backward thinking in our courses, and sometimes we need to get the intellect out of the way and look at all the different possibilities, and sometimes that's not necessary. So we just ask, do we need to backward think? If yes, then take a minute to backward think before you proceed on to running the menu until finished. So once we've completed this and we come down, the next black section you see is menu. So within menu we have cover-ups, and we have cover-ups listed here. This is a nice list of cover-ups. There's a little space at the bottom. You can scribble and add some more if you have some more cover-ups that you want to add. Lifestyle, These are lifestyle factors. Within lifestyle, we have conditioning like balance, cognitive, endurance conditioning, flexibility, posture, and strength. We also have diet, all sorts of different elements that we found were really clinically very powerful changes or disruptions that could be coming from diet. So we can zoom in on those. Environmental exposures. Then we have personal hygiene, listening to the body, pain avoidance or suppression. And then we have the protection section, sleep hygiene, stress exposure. Now after stress exposure and also in the conditioning section, we have some further descriptions here that's duration, frequency, and timing. So under stress exposure, it's a stress exposure, if you find that that's a problem, if you menu to that, so you have high cholesterol and you get to stress exposure, is it duration? Is it too long of stress? No. Is it the frequency of stress? Yes. Is it timing? No. So it's just the frequency. So then you would just talk with the client and say, okay, what type of stressful situations are going on in your life that are reoccurring at a high level of frequency? Talk to them about it, develop a strategy, and then finish to see if your strategy actually resolved it. You get a yes, then you can pop back to the top of lifestyle. If you get a yes that you're finished there, come back here to the menu. If you get a yes that you're finished with menu, then you can ask if you're finished with the symptom. If you get a no, then you can go back down through the process. Now, next one we have is need and use, which is here in green. That's body points. We have the body points, several of them that are related to different nutrients. But some things we just have to put direct samples on the thymus, anti-inflammatories, cholecalciferol, and so forth. And then we have activities for need and use. Then the menu charts, which you've heard me reference before and discussing in the other videos. This is how you'll springboard if you come down here to menu charts, to here, to the other charts, and then zero in once you have gotten to them. Then we have harmonization and program vials. So all of the TBM vials are listed here. So you would just menu down, is it all, autoimmune, cellular, etc. You may just want to ask, if you get to harmonization and program vials, start from the top, start from the bottom, just to get you closer that way. But you would do the dark blue first, all autoimmune, cellular immunity, emotional, environmental, food and beverage, fundamental, medication, microorganism, neurotransmitters, hormones and cytokines, pathological, and life 2018. And if, say it's microorganisms, then you'll go within and ask, is it the bacteria set, and so on. Now, after Alive 2018, you're going to see some blank lines. We're going to have an Alive in 2020, and there'll be new vials that are going to be introduced. Right now, it's looking like close to about 200. We got close to 100 new autoimmune vials that Dr. Wayne Hirschbrenner contributed to TBM. And so you would put Alive 2020. You just write it right in here. So any other additional sets, there's a little bit of space to add that in the coming years. Then we come over here to a list of techniques that aren't related to vials. So we call them non-vial techniques. So that's in the purple. So those are listed here. You can start top, middle, or bottom. And then we have menuable vials. So these menuable vials are all the ones that are not emotional and energetical, except we have an emotional and energetic line, which we then refer you over to the emotional and energetical dynamics chart, where you have the emotional menu vials listed here. So rather than using up space to use them, to list them here, we just reference you over to there. So all the menuable vials in TBM are contained either in this box here on menu dynamics or emotional and energetical dynamics here in the red. Then, of course, awareness can pop up anytime in any of our visits. So we have awareness here, the reminder that it's pineal 1, corpus callosum, and circulation. So once you get finished with the menu, or with the symptom, then you would go back up and check high thymus. If you're not in high thymus, you can move on to another symptom. And when you get proficient with this, I did just 15-minute visits with my patients. Quite often, I'd get to 6, 7, 8, 9 different symptoms in that time. So when you get efficient at this menuing process, once the basics are in place, it's usually just one correction for each symptom. So the challenge is, how can I quickly get to that one correction, get it done, and then I can move on to another symptom. Now, there's some things here on the outer edges I just want to cover with you. Victor's comment, menuing is the most important tool that we have in TVM. The ability to just converse directly with the body's innate intelligence, get it to let us know what's wrong, what we can do to make a difference. We have in this yellow here, outlined by red, the TVM contraindications. These are things that we teach that you do not do in TVM. Those are listed there. Here in these blue boxes, we have the autonomic recovery program, telling you the schedule when you start with the new client and you're implementing the autonomic recovery program, and how many times a week, and the general guide that way. Postural alignment training, the key points, and to train your clients in utilizing effective posture where they hang on their skeleton rather than their joints and muscles. Our 4-step approach that we use in TVM. Here is a little graphic with the location of pain on the head and where it would tell you in the body to look, to correct, to relieve that. We generally don't see headaches or head problems. There are other parts of the body, and this is a legend to get you there quickly. A little reminder, this droplet of water of how much water for body weight, both in the imperial and in the metric systems. Here's the TVM basics pyramid. We have our grid system, so an anterior skeleton and a posterior skeleton. So if you are just needing to find something on the body and you're not sure where it is anatomically, then you can just ask, anterior, no. Posterior, yes. If it's posterior, you've got A through M across the top, 1 through 25 along the side. I would say, is it between 1 and 13? Yes. Okay. Is it between 1 and 6? No. 7 through 9? No. Okay. 10? No. 11. So I've got my 11. Then I'm going to ask, is it A through G? No. Okay. H through I? No. All right. K? Yes. So it's 11K, which is on the back of the right arm, and that's where I need to work. So that's how we use that here. This something we call the menu grid in the past. Here is the phases of healing and the benchmarks for each of the different phases of healing, organized into phases -3, -2, -1. These are the phases that your clients go through before they come to you. And then the sound body phases, the clear mind phases, and the open heart. And this allows you to chart overall within the TVM system how your clients are moving towards what we're ultimately wanting is for them to make the unique contribution that they were born to make, which is in phase 6. Last but not least, over here we have just the general vial procedures. So how to run program vials, how to run the harmonization vials, including the harmonization points, simple, short, humoral immunity, cellular immunity, or B cell and T cell. So lots of great reference material around here, and the core hub for the whole TBM system, the menu charts. And I hope you find as much benefit from these as I do in working with people, and get lots of value out of them along with your clients and patients. Thank you.